So you just want a quick glance, just look over there real quick, not let anybody know you did?
Well, that's part of it, but the real thing is, there's a lot of innovation going on, and everybody is not just wearing it out openly because.
Welcome back to Emphasis Tech Talks, the podcast for business leaders leveraging cutting-edge technology to raise their bottom lines. I'm your host, David Clausen of Emphasis Tech. Our guest today is Terry Moody, the CEO of Altor Solutions. Terry has a grand vision on how technology can transform the packaging space and has some great advice on managing highly innovative teams. This episode has a lot to unpack, so be sure to like and subscribe to make sure you get notified of our future videos when they're released. Terry, thanks for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about Altor Solutions and how you're leveraging technology.
Okay, so Altor Solutions, we're a pretty diverse packaging company. We do focus in primary segments so we kind of look at industry in different pieces, maybe not so much like you would consider a normal market segment, but we look at it in terms of life sciences, in terms of industrial. Industrial may have things like HVAC, appliances, small appliances, and furniture and things like that. And then we look at it in terms of perishables, which is, as we know, a huge growth area in grocery delivery, food delivery, that type of thing. And then finally, we look at it because we are an engineering solutions company and custom engineered solutions and services. We look at what possible services and solutions we could offer out there that are not necessarily product-based.
So you're primarily in the packaging space?
Yes. Yes. In those basically segments as I described.
Right.
We make packaging that's sustainable. We make packaging that is biodegradable. We make packaging that's curbside recyclable. But they're in those different segments that I referenced.
Okay. Yeah. So, when I think of packaging, I don't necessarily think high tech. How are you leveraging technology, and how are you looking at technology to help improve what you do and the products that you present to your customers?
Well, I can tell you. So think about, let's take one segment. Let's focus on like the cold chain and life science segment. Life science can be anything from transporting pharmaceuticals, transporting vaccines, transporting people's replacement organs if they're in dire need of a heart transplant or a kidney transplant. What is critical to the path of transporting these types of payloads? Because when you think about it, this is somebody's life in the end is counting on this, and it may be shipping from California to New York to save a life in a 72-hour point of view. How does technology interact in that? Well, today, the packages are put in with ice packs into a cold chain package that we manufacture and a few others, and it's transported with the certification that it will last 72 hours at a pretty significant plus or minus 2 degrees centigrade temperature, right? Well, think about the future state having a device that is integrated, that it's a mobile device that's in the package that monitors the temperature inside, monitors the vibration of the package, and monitors it with a GPS, where you're the receiving end, and say you're the surgeon and the team waiting. They can be looking on the app, see where it's located, see that it's in a steady state of being, the baby is being taken care of very well, and that they can kind of estimate when it is going to arrive and that can be ready. So that is where packaging is heading, to what we would consider and is called in the industry smart pack. They're as integrating smart packaging technology into various ones. That's just one example. There's a host of others, but it really, you can imagine a package that's coming of steaks. We're, we're in Missouri, Kansas City steak ships all over, and you can imagine that if there was a steak or seafood, or you pick any high-end consumable perishable, and you had the ability to track the temperature of that to ensure the quality of that product was there on time, in spec. And guess what? The soak in the carrier, that way, if something does happen, we know exactly what time it happened, where it happened in the GPS, and what the temperature breach cause and effect was, so that none of this occurs, in the so
Yeah, that wouldn't happen, right?
of course not. But it would be a benefit for both sides, be a benefit. And by the way, you license that out and let the end users have the same app, so that if I've ordered that, I expect that 72 hours later, I can check status on it anywhere in the system and know where it's at, and feel comfortable it's going to get to me.
Right, right. Well, that's yeah. I had not thought about that before. Uh, you know, so you're tracking the temperature, because you always wonder about that. So you mentioned the steaks, that got my attention, by the way. Uh, but you do kind of wonder, did they, how did they survive through the process? Were there any places where they, fell outside the bounds of, safe temperature, safe storage? And so that does bring an extra level of comfort to that. And so, yeah, so you really are on the leading edge of that, of thinking about technology and how that is going to change packaging and how deliveries happen. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a big piece of it. There's not only the smart pack, but also the AI interface that it would go along with that, to create the algorithms and different things to make it more accurate. Today, all that testing and certification, when people think about packaging, they don't think about technology, but even today, there's a tremendous amount of engineering that goes into a cold chain package. There's certifications that have to occur. You have to do a lot of life testing in different conditions. So you have to have temperature chambers that are capable of ramping up to a certain high temperature and going down to sub-zero temperature, to see how the characteristics of that package, the content, how it gets affected. Because a lot of people don't even think about it on a normal basis, that if you're shipping from the East Coast to the West Coast, you may be shipping out of 20-degree outside weather to an area that's 80 degrees outside weather. Those both have different effects on the truck or the transport device that's transporting these packages. How does the package behave, and how is the content affected, if at all? Because for example, today you put a cold pack in there, and if you hadn't done these certifications, these testings, and there's a lot of them, there's a lot of thermographs that go along with this, You might put too much cooling in if it's transporting from the East Coast and overcool the product because it's in lower outdoor temperatures that might even increase the cooling further. You wouldn't even think about that occurring, but then it's going to go from very cold to very hot, just like a week and a half ago, it was sub-zero. Packages still have to go out. How is it going to behave in that sub-zero condition?
Right. So do you see monitoring for humidity too? I mean, that makes me think about packages sweating, that sort of thing, as it's going through temperature changes and altitude changes and that sort of thing.
The whole smart pack technology idea is actually to get down the path. When we're talking future now, a little bit of self-regulation even. So there may even be self-regulation packaging.
Oh, I see.
Depending
Yeah, to
on
help mitigate that
criticality,
possibility. Yeah.
yeah, the criticality of the application, and it's not unheard of. It's being looked at. There's a lot of advancements going on in packaging.
So that's interesting. Um, so let's talk. You mentioned the future. What do you beyond the things that you've already talked about, and you've already shared, quite a bit. But beyond that, what do you see as far as uh, future in the packing space as it relates to technology?
Well, in the space in principle, I think you're seeing it now already. We're starting to utilize artificial intelligence models to do more competitive landscaping, do more marketing research, actually constructing narratives to the zeitgeist that's out there, constructing through some of the packages. We can actually do what is termed out there as prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is becoming more and more of a reality. And if you have some folks that are really developing a skill around prompt engineering, they can actually really put together an LLM or a large language model and go out and search with these artificial intelligence capabilities. And you can put together a pretty competitive landscape picture coupled along with where there's gaps and holes in certain industries, and even point some R&D people in the right direction if you find some areas where needs are not being addressed, and it's much faster. I mean, we're talking now what would take you months or years in the past, you could do in hours.
Yeah. So looking for that niche, looking for that need, and you're using AI to do that. Yeah, that's a good use. That's a good use case. I can see where that would be of a big advantage for you. Um, what have been some of the challenges that you've had to overcome? I know that you're fairly new at Altor, right? I mean, 18 months or thereabouts. So, what's been some of the challenges that you've had to overcome so far, and how did technology play into that?
Well, we're like all packaging companies that are been around for a long time, and Altor's been around since 1957. We're going through a transformation. We're going through a cultural transformation, and we're going through a technological transformation, and developing the talent, doing the training and development, and finding talent is a challenge almost in every business and every segment of industry. Is to get that expertise and become a talent magnet for that because it's a small bowl of talent out there today, and uh, we have to have differentiators to excite people and want to bring them in because technology is exciting, and it does have the eye of the talent that's out there floating around looking for what's the best fit for me. And so I think our biggest challenge was initially was getting a core team of talent that really wanted to put together what I call a multi-year strategy that integrated technology into what we do, because we've been doing this for so long. You can almost vision that blinders start to come on. So we had to inject. I had to look for holes, and I had to inject folks that from the outside coming in. We created some nucleuses of knowledge, a nuclei of knowledge in the company. But then we created what we call porous holes, porous walls. Porous walls means that we see through the walls and we pick up partners outside of the company that actually have talent that do these particular more, I guess, direct applications. And we create and make them part of the family, and we utilize them, and we create a relationship. And we do that more times so that we have these different nucleuses of, we call it nucleation, by the way. We call it nucleation innovation. It's our term. I brought in Dr. Wright from MIT. He's on my team. He's my He's my chief of technology, and he's a great thinker out of the box, and he come up with, I have to give you credit, come up with that nucleation term. So we call it nucleation innovation, but it really is creating nucleuses of strength internally, and then maximizing utilization of the porous walls, meaning going out and getting innovation partners to help move the puck down the court faster.
That's interesting. I do see a number of the more technically advanced companies. I mean, you would think that they rely internally for the skills that they have, but uh, really that it's really more economical to reach out and get someone that specializes in that field and use them for uh, that one use case, or have them add to your team, right, on a as needed kind of basis. And we provide a lot of that as well, and have some great customers that we work with in that way. So that's a great way of utilizing uh, and finding those skills. As you said, it's hard to go out and find a lot of those skills today. So that's yeah, really really good thinking on your part, and I can see how that would work out for you.
Economics is only one aspect. I mean, speed, acceleration to market, because when you think about it, it's not just about time is money as well. And if you can develop something and bring it to market much faster, and by the way, the nucleus picks up the knowledge, so they learn faster through the outside influence. So there's a lot of benefits to doing that. It's just
Well, I've seen that on a number of teams that I've been on, where the new guy comes in, and they or the new gal for that matter, and they've got some great ideas, or they've seen something done somewhere a little differently, and especially if you have a group that's open to those kind of changes, that you have to build the right team, you have to have the right folks that are open to those kind of suggestions, but often that can greatly improve the overall performance and the quality of the work that you're doing, is to have that diversity in the group for sure. So what do you see about so we talked about challenges that you had. I know this the skill set challenge is going to be ongoing. We all feel that pain. We're all with you on that. What other new challenges do you see coming down the road that you think technology will be able to help you with?
Well, I think that for sure, when I talked earlier about the zeitgeist or the environment, right? It's shifting. It's shifting. We're having generations coming up that are more in tune and in touch with the environment, wanting the solutions to be more curbside recyclable, or wanting the solutions to be less plastic or less of the items. They want them to be more user friendly to dispose of, and by disposing, meaning put them back into the regeneration cycle. So I think that you have to overcome the hurdles of looking at what you do today and figure out your core strengths and how are they? Are they regenerative? Are they potentially to be regenerative? Or do you have to make a shift? Do you have to make a shift in the material, or the types of things that you're doing, or what? These are big hurdles that every company are going through today with the environmental measures on how many points you get on a carbon footprint. All of this, it plays in. And by the way, the challenge is which customers, because they all have different requirements. Some customers are very adamant that you shift fast. They're going to want to go more slowly. And I give you an example of how that works. So just to not to just say something, but to give you something live example. They have customer or wanted it yesterday. So we're making shifts in certain materials that are very friendly, biodegradably friendly. But we went to propose because we have multiple locations across the U.S. and in Mexico, and we can't just change up material partial in one plant, or half in the plant, half of this and half of that. It makes a very complex manufacturing process, especially when they look the same. So we wanted to just convert a site over and come out with this new biodegradable material. Well, one of our big customers said, well, that's wonderful, but we're not moving at that pace. We want to move a little slower. If you tell us we got to do it, then we'll start to work on the engineering. But we're really not wanting to do that this year. Well, the other customer's like, I'd like to have this yesterday. We need to get this year. So we have to come to a compromise and figure it out. But you're running into that situation. The stratification across customer landscape is not the same. Some people are embracing faster than others, and you have to manage that material flow because it's a change in your whole process. So that takes technology as well to manage all of the different variables and constraints in the process that you're going to have to manage now, the complexity, as I call it, complexity management. So what does that drive? That drives us to get better MES systems, digital measuring systems in the factories, getting the equipment all networked together so that we can do some digital controlling of switching up and really understand what is the variability in the processes going forward. It's not just flip the switch and run the standard old data collection. You're kind of creating on the fly new processes. So you have to do all the engineering change notices and engineering change requests and all that, like you normally would in manufacturing. But now It's with, by the way, something you've been doing since 57. Now all of a sudden it's a new material, and oh, by the way, new characteristic, and it definitely needs a little more of monitoring and controlling. So we had to increase our digitization or a digital footprint as well. So those are challenges that are real out there for technology in and manufacturing.
So using the technology to make it a little more dynamic is
It
what I'm
needs to be
hearing
more
there.
real time, more dynamic. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That reminds me. So like Amazon, they do a lot of print on demand. So the paperback books, especially, right? So they're not storing those already printed and just kind of hoping that they sell them. Most of those, when you purchase them, they're printing them on the fly, and so that's the dynamic nature, um, and where they brought that into the book sales arena. And sounds like you're looking to do that from the packaging arena as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. We're a built to order, custom built to order manufacturer. So we don't typically carry inventory.
that's a good way to manage your business, right? I mean, you don't want to have that those materials just sitting around and just hoping someone orders what you've got in stock. So yeah, I get it. That's great. And so to manage all that, you talked a little bit about personnel, and you've got a lot of innovation going on. Uh, do you have any nuggets for our audience about how to manage uh, the people that would have the skill set and the knowledge to be innovators like that? I mean, how do you build a team that can perform in that manner, and how do you keep them engaged?
Well, one of the things for sure, Dave, is we have a standing rule, starts with me, is we have to have fun. Work has to be enjoyable. I told you last night, if it's work, if it's a four-letter word called work, then it's not for us. We want to enjoy what we do, and we want our folks to enjoy what they do. So you have to give these folks some leeway to think and to develop and to create. So they have to have some creativity, freedom, and that's where we're heading with some collaboratorium type facilities that will also engage them with the porous walls and some of these other things that I've been talking about without going too deep. But you have to offer flexibility, but for sure challenge them to what they enjoy. You have to get the right, it's no different. You have to get the round peg in the round hole, and there's no science to that. I mean, people have to enjoy what they do. You have to get the right people in the right place, and then give them the right tools, show them that you're willing to invest. If you really have conviction around something, you're not going to try to save your way to prosperity. You're going to invest in it. You're going to invest in your people. So my message to anybody out there, technology is not going to be the driver that makes success in business for you. It's investing in your people. If you believe in your people, invest in them, and they will make the rest happen. You get the right people in the right positions and invest in them. And when I talk about invest, it's not always money. It's training, it's time, it's listening, it's communication, it's letting them have some freedom to be empowered to make decisions and be part of it. That is not technology, that's managing people, but it's not the environment of the do as I say, not as I do. It's the environment of, you guys are pretty smart. You're around. We brought you in for this. Well, let's let you go do that. And here, by the way, tell us what you need, and let's get some resources around you to help you get where you need to go. But we're not bringing them in to tell them what to do. We're bringing this talent in to have them show us what we need to do.
Right. So you end up becoming the facilitator and helping them have the tools that they need and the support that they need to move forward with those ideas. And I think that's critical. There's nothing that'll bring a halt to innovation faster than to have people come up with ideas and then see none of them go forward.
Exactly. It's an ID buster. They'll shut down for sure, and pretty soon they'll leave. The other piece of that's really critical, and that's where my role comes in as CEO, is that we have to have a vision. A company without a vision is just floundering. Yeah, a company has to have a vision. We have to have a mission, and we need a long-term plan. So we needed a 3 to 5 year strategy, which I brought the top 21 folks of the organization together. We built a strategy. We went out and engaged all of the folks of the management and people from various operations to get feedback and really start to massage it and put together. It took about 4.5, 5 months, but we built a multi-year plan and a vision on that, how to get there, and the transformation that needs to occur and the roadmaps to get there. So people also like to have a map. They like to understand that the leaders are not just flying blind. So we have a multi-year strategy and we stick to it. And we use it as our filter, by the way. If it's not in our strategy, we shouldn't be working on it.
Yeah, that's good advice. And so do you take occasionally look back at that? I mean, you just said that you do to some degree, but so you have a specific point of time when you're looking back and saying, hey, are we holding to our strategy here?
Yes. So we do a couple things. We look at our strategy progress monthly and quarterly. And then we do what we call the refresh. We look at the refresh is done every September, just before budgets, obviously. And what is a refresh? A refresh is you go out and you use some of this technology we were talking about to go back and check the variables and see if anything changed in the market. Did something significantly shift? Did something change? 2020, something significantly changed, right? But did something significantly change in the future, in our projections, in the markets, or in the segments, or was there something that profoundly occurred that's a hurdle, and we had to shift gears and we had to go a different direction? We don't change our strategy. We just make adjustments to market conditions. But we do that refresh, and that refresh is just as much part of our annual process is budgeting, is the refresh of the strategy.
Yeah, so I like that. So that's where, so you have a strategy and you're going to stick to it, but it's not so set in stone that you can't adjust, as you said, if the market or something in the environment changes that requires some adjustment.
Yeah, say a disruption came into the marketplace that created a whole new segmentation of things that we're really good at. We might want to be the innovator in that, and we may want to change a few of the maneuvers that we have to go address that. we're not throwing our whole strategy out. We're just making a slight adjustment in a few maneuver directions. But it's always keeping to that and making sure that we're checking back to make sure that we're doing what we said we would do.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome. So, you mentioned AI earlier. Let's kind of revisit that a little bit. Let's talk about AI for marketing. Are you looking to AI for marketing, and not to give away any trade secrets, but generally, how are you doing that, and how are you leveraging it?
Okay, so without really naming names or anything, but I can give you in principle, we use certain AI capabilities to do market intelligence. There are certain ones that will do lead generation. We're engaged in those. So there are various ones out there that are marketed very openly. We we are using a very well positioned one that is netting some very decent results. For lead generation, there's one for segment generations. There's several out there on creating narratives and comparing branding. And as you know, brand is very important. And your brand is your identity. And you can validate actually how your brand is perceived in the marketplace through some of these AI engines, and we are utilizing a lot of those currently.
So yeah, so you're using it not only just for lead generation, but also some validation about whether or not if your marketing is working the way that it should, and as you're talking about checking on the brand and that sort of thing. That
Yeah, it's a look in the mirror. It's another way to look in the mirror without disclosing to everybody you're looking in the mirror. It's
so you just want a quick glance, just look over there real quick, not let anybody know you did.
Well, that's part of it, but the real thing is, there's a lot of innovation going on, and everybody is not just wearing it out openly because there's a lot of it's exciting time. There's a lot of intellectual property being created. There's a lot of interesting stuff that's coming out. It's not out yet. In the next few years, it's going to be really fun. And we're looking forward to it because we're looking forward to being one of the leaders in it. And it's exciting times.
Yeah, it really is, and it is going to be interesting to see what rises to the top. So you know, we've been through these kind of cycles before, uh, where something new comes out in technology, and all of a sudden, it's the silver bullet, and everybody wants to use it for everything. And sometimes it's used incorrectly, and uh, and so forth. So there'll be losers and there'll be winners, and it'll be really interesting to see what bubbles to the top and how this all lands in the next year or two. Um, yeah, so it's
I don't think it's a silver bullet, Dave. I don't think you can use it to run your business and replace your management. I don't believe in any of that. I'll be honest with you. It's a tool, just like a hammer is in your tool belt. It's another tool. I think that if you just like if you remember back when Six Sigma was first starting, everything was Six Sigma, everything, to the fact that everybody got the Six Sigma handbook and threw it at their companies and it just about killed half of the manufacturing facility because they, instead of just picking key tools out of the book that might apply to what you do and do it really well, you can overdo anything. And I think this is no different. Personally, that's Terry's opinion.
yeah, that's good insight. And yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And it sounds to me like you've got a really good measured approach, right? That's what I'm hearing here is that you see the value in AI, you want to leverage it, and you know that it's important to get out there out front and know it and understand it. But at the same time, you know, as you said, you're not looking to it for the silver bullet. You're not looking for it to replace all of your operations, all of your thinking, but you're going to leverage it in strategic places. And I think that's very smart of you to do that.
Thank you. I tell you, business today is still relationships. And people are people. And when you think that everything can be remote control, it's not going to be, because it's still about relationships. I mean, I've been around. I've been in this 39 years. It's still about relationships, and I'm not above adapting. I change. I love to learn. I learn so much, especially from the next generations coming up. I learn as much from them as they're learning from me. But that's what makes it fun. That's why we have a ball doing it, right? Because we're not sitting around judging each other. We're learning from each other, which is a great place. To me, it's exciting. But the reality is, you still need that human element. You need people that have experience to help to teach and bring along the ones that are learning and just starting. And there is a handoff. There are relationships built. There are relationships forged for lifetimes in industries. You're not going to replace that with artificial intelligence. I see it for what it is. I see it as another set of tools. And that's what I believe it is. That's my opinion. Some people out there think it's going to be the next ice cream. I personally believe it's just a tool coming. We'll toe dip in certain ones, we'll go into others, but the reality is we're going to just keep it real, keep it fact-based, data-driven, and we'll keep innovating forward, just as some people say, with the human element.
Right, right. Well, with that, I think that's a great spot for us to close things out. Terry, I really, really appreciate you taking the time. Learned a ton. I got to tell you, I did not think we'd go down this path with packaging, but we did. So that's fantastic. Terry, how can our audience stay in touch with you and learn more about what you're doing and just kind of keep in touch with you?
Sure. So for me, first thing first, you can go to our website at altorsolutions.com and check us out. You can reach me at Moody at altorsolutions.com, and I'll get you to the right contacts in the organization and such. And for sure, on our website, there's contact numbers. There's different aspects to get a hold of us at any level in the company, and just check us out. I will tell you, we'll be launching a new website soon, so stay tuned because we have some new stuff coming. But that's for right now. That's the immediate way to check us out. We've been in packaging since 1957, and we have 17 factories in North America, 15 in the United States, and 2 in Mexico. Our Mexico operations sell in Mexico, so we're a U.S.-based company selling in the U.S. and a Mexican-based division selling in Mexico. So we're excited about what we're up to and what we're about to embark on in our next phases. And I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you, and get Altor's name out there a little bit.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks, Terry. Thanks to the audience for joining us today. Make sure that you like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the new podcasts that we have coming out. And take care. Be safe.